Ni Sambulavinaka, Muchudolavina. Welcome. My name's Tessa Teresa, and I am zooming in from the ancestral land of Hambata on the coral coast of Fiji. I say I'm zooming in, and at the same time, I'm very firmly rooted to the ground. It's lovely to be among you, to be amongst you in circle, and there's time for sharing. Day 5 of 7 days of rest and sacred renewal from fertile ground. Fertile ground of co-creation with a global collective of 7 women. And we're on this beautiful journey together. And we've come from day 1 of rebirthing, day 2 of nourishing from the plant world, day 3 of cultivating from sacred land, on sacred land, day 4 of communing through this ancient system of the Mayan calendar. And day 4 really felt like a portal opening to today, tomorrow, and day 7, when we take a look through this portal and invite what's on the other side in. And by all of us being here, I'm in the south, many of you are in the north. And just by all of us being here, we are sharing space. We're sharing space and we're holding balance in a good way. So this theme of sharing, what seems to be rising is a lot of emphasis on how can we share our physical space, how can we share the lands that we live in with people who have traveled from afar, how can we share our garden space with little critters, standing ones, and humans alike. So much of the focus has been and is on this sharing in a physical sense. But how do we share space with that other side, with our psyche, with the ancestors, with those that work through the subtle realm, constantly transmitting nudges, inklings for us, helping to guide us. And our guide today, this amazing wise woman that I was so very privileged to meet through the 4 Worlds International and our International Women's Talking Circle, gave me insight to this ability to decipher those messages. And I speak of the dream world. Dreams probably take up, ideally, sleep would take up ideally about 30% of our lives, if you're getting the 8 hours that we need. And doesn't it make sense to know what is going on then? And many of us go through our lives just brushing them off as, oh, it was just a dream. Oh, it was just a dream. And what about those recurring dreams? And what about those dreams that have us sitting upright in bed, or maybe walking around and talking? You know, what about those? So my meeting with Gail and this ability that she has to decipher this world really opened up a door for me and has allowed me to do that in a good way, in an exciting way, where it's even more exciting than reading an exciting novel or watching something, because I'm in it. And if I'm not in it, it's part of my world. So I'm just feeling so deeply privileged and honored to have met you, Gail, and to be able to be part of this sharing, where you're going to bring your gifts forward for all of us to have a taste of that and to peek down that portal. And probably, I think we're going to step through the portal today, right here. So thank you, sister. Gail is the original mystic, a way shower, and it's a privilege for every one of us here in our little Muppet boxes, as she calls these little screens, to work together with the other holders here who are going to help us with our dreams and share space and just do that magic that you do so well. So I'd now like to hand over to my mystic sister, Gail, Dancing Heron, Dances with Death, Thomas, Vinaka Gail.
So much. What a beautiful introduction. And I know that you know this from your heart because we've done the dream work and you've done it so well. And we've stepped into the mystic archetype, which is not an easy step. Since the witch trials and all those things that kind of made it tough to be in the mystic archetypal pattern. But I see so many of us that walk that way. And I'm really, really happy to be here. Let me see if I can turn my volume up just a tiny bit. Okay, is that better? I appreciate all the feedback you can give me. And I'm grateful to all of you who show up to track this magic. We are tracking the magic for the year ahead, for 2022. And I want to start with a quote from Carl Jung because my specialization is in depth psychology, which was actually originated from the encounter with the medicine people on this continent. The indigenous medicine people all over the world were actually doing psychology long before the Europeans caught on. They were only addressing the illness in the body, the dis-ease in the body. And they saw what an amazing effect the medicine ways could have on people, helping them feel better in so many ways. We have a native ancestral belief that illness begins in the spirit, then travels to the body. My own near-death experiences in 2004 showed me that there is an agreement between my spirit and my body that my mind can barely witness and comprehend. The mystics, of course, travel this path without near-death experience. I highly recommend doing the work without going to that level of teaching. It's much easier. And this is work that continues on the other side. The work that we do here carries on to the other side. My dreams have told me that. And there is something easier about doing the work here. I haven't figured that one out yet in a linear fashion, but there is so much help from the dream world. And I have many quantum physicist confirmations that when native people, such as myself, use the word spirit and our connection with spirit and our own spirit, it is interchangeable with quantum physics. There's a beautiful book that Vine Deloria Jr. wrote on his deathbed, which was different from his other books because he walked the ways of the dominant culture as well. He tried that, and then on his deathbed he went back to his native teachings, and he wrote a book called The World We Used to Live In, and he talked about the many magical ways we have available to us when we connect all the dimensions and all the spirit help that's available to us. So I want to honor Carl Jung with a quote from him to begin our session. He says, "The spirit of the depths even taught me to consider my action and my decision as dependent on dreams. Dreams pave the way for life, and they determine you without you understanding their language. One would like to learn this language, but who can teach and learn it? Scholarliness alone is not enough. There is a knowledge of the heart that gives deeper insight. The knowledge of the heart is in no book and is not to be found in the mouth of any teacher, but grows out of you like the green seed from the dark earth. Scholarliness belongs to the spirit of this time, but this spirit in no way grasps the dream, since the soul is everywhere that scholarly knowledge is not." So Carl Jung brought this work into mainstream allopathic medicine. That puts it at least 100 years beyond theory. There are many dream theories out there, but this is empirical science, meaning it has been proven in the allopathical medical system of psychiatry. He followed the teachings of the alchemists who were holding the ancient teachings, the original instructions that we came in with. Those are the ones that we work with in this way, those original instructions. And those are the ones that we return to in times of trouble. So here we are in these times, and I'm so honored to be able to work your dreams and share with you in this way. So let's get started. I'm going to go over some things that will be helpful as we go along, to help us keep from getting, too far from the dream teachings, remembering that they are in a language of symbols and image that we have to come together and share from all of our experiences. So we've got this little hand motion that we're all going to show from the gallery when you need to focus back on the dream, when you need to come back into the dream, because we want to go as quickly as we can and work as many magical symbols as we can. So just help us all by doing this. You've already seen I need this when you can't hear me. And when we need to wrap things up, I'm going to make a little circle. You guys help me with this. And we're gonna do some charades, some hand signals as we go along. And I have a team who's helping determine what is collective, what is archetypal, what is instinctual. We're going to pick 4 dreams from all of your dreams. And my team is Stephen and Charo and anybody else who really wants to join in. I think Suzanne, I'm going to ask to keep a count on the animals that show up in the dreams, and she can jot that down or count on her fingers, whatever, because I know she's really connected with the animals. And Going to ask all of you to participate as much as you want to. So, first thing, if you have a dream that you want to share, put share after your word, after your name. Rename yourself and just put the word share after your name so they'll know, especially to watch for your messages in the chat. And just show me some hands right now of who has a dream that they want to share today. Okay, Kate, can you guys help me count? Stephen, I know I can't see all the gallery. I can see Kate, but I can't see who else might be looking to share a dream. How many do you see, Stephen? How many hands? I can't see your fingers. Okay. Do we just have the one other dream to share? Does anybody else want to share a dream? Okay, good. Tessa has a dream. Show me your fingers like this. How many people? I've got 4 dreams now. Suzanne makes 5. You're counting 5? Okay, do we have 5 people who want to share dreams? Is that right?
I think people can use the reactions to put a symbol near their, and it's quite clear.
Yeah, raise your
Like,
electronic hand. But I still can't see those. Yeah, unfortunately, I have a limited gallery view. Okay, so I'm thinking we have 5 dreams, and Suzanne, I can see you fairly well. If you've counted more than 5, okay, I see your thumbs up. Thank you. Yeah, let's all communicate and participate. Now let's narrow it down a little bit to dreams for the collective. So if you would just put in the chat those 5 people who want to share their dreams, put in the chat where your dream is taking place. Where is your dream sitting? Is it on a mountain? Is it in the city? Is it in an airport? Is it in a store? Is it in your home? Okay, we've got Suzanne in a city. We've got Tessa in a boarding house. Okay, good. Those are both dreams for the collective. Kate, an unknown place by the. Okay, we've got someone in the workplace. Okay, the workplace is collective. What was yours, Kate? An unknown what?
An unknown place by the water. There was water there.
Okay, good. Water represents the unconscious. That is also a very good collective. Okay, so we're going to group these in deciding what order they'll be in. Anybody else have water in their dream? Of you guys. Okay, so we got 1 for water. You've got multiple dreams in the city. My dream was in a university setting. Steve has a dream from the workplace. Are there other dreams from workplace? And the boarding house, is that kind of group yourselves a little bit, just a little bit, so that we can look at the same themes together. And now let's look at how many people were in your dream. And you can tell me that, like if it was a crowd, just show me your handfuls of people. And if it was 4, show me your fingers up here by your face so I can be sure to get that contrast. Fingers. Okay, I've got a crowd. Kate, is that 1 finger? 5 with Tessa. Okay, Stephen Charo, are you helping me collate? Can you count and group? Okay, you're unsure. Suzanne, was it a lot or just a few? Okay. Okay, so Suzanne and Kate, You have very few people. We're going to group you together. The crowds. Show me all the crowds. Who else has a crowd? I'm the only crowd? Okay. I mean, you had a crowd. I would say 60 is a crowd. Anybody else have a crowd of, you know, 40, 50 or more? Okay. Molly, you had a crowd? Good. Am I saying your name right, Molly? Great. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Claudia. Yeah. Okay. 2 out of 5. Had 5 people. Okay. 2 out of 5 had 5, and the other 3 had um, crowds, right? Yes, so maybe you wanna
Oh, sorry.
with your sound. It's okay if you need to get up, but your airplanes, is that airplanes or wind?
I'm moving inside. The sun's a bit. Just gonna.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Okay, 5 or 6 people, good. Okay, I think we're gonna look for the archetypal patterns now. Are you good with your collation, Stephen, Charo, and Claudia? Thank you so much, Claudia. That's exactly what I need to see. That kind of grouping. Set them up in groups like that. Okay, now Charo is going to manage the archetypal images for us. And that would be anything huge. Was there anything huge in your dream? Really bigger than beyond usual. What was huge in your dream? Yep. Okay. Are you collating with me, Claudia? Okay, I had something huge in my dream. Did anybody else have something huge in their dream? Steve had something huge in his dream. Steve and I got an early start, so we could go quickly and be an example for the rest of the dreams. Okay, Tessa, what was your huge thing? Okay, Molly had a huge mandala, beautiful. Steve had a labyrinth and a maze. Tessa, what was your huge thing?
It was a very rapidly growing child, a girl child.
Beautiful. Beautiful buildings, huge buildings, space communities. I see amazing things coming up in the chat. Okay, let's hang on to all this. Charo, you've got a good grasp of those big things, those huge things, those archetypal things. Mountains are archetypal, oceans are archetypal, crystals, rivers, gold rings. Yeah, the ocean is definitely archetypal, and the unconscious. Beautiful, beautiful dreams. Okay, so Charo, you're good with that? I can't see you. I can only see if you chat, Charo. Don't know how to put you. Okay, you're good with that? Okay, who had animals in their dreams? Okay, I see Kate had an animal. Yep, Charo, help us with the animals too. Okay, Suzanne, you're gonna hold the animals in presence from everyone else. Oh, I love the whales, Kate. Yeah, and the dolphins, very sweet. Any other animals? Okay. Okay, so we're gonna collate. Here's the order that we're gonna go in. We're gonna shake it out all together. And we're gonna be very spontaneous. We're gonna allow for synchronicities to come up. The main thing that I want you to keep in mind is that the soul tells us what we don't already know. The soul is both eternity and right now. So it's everything, okay? And that is the relationship that we're building when we do this dream work. We are connecting with our soul that is connected with the soul of the collective. So this is how we get the information for the collective, by building our relationship with our soul and recognizing, first and foremost, that the soul's language is symbol and image. It is different from our own. We don't want to totally throw out linear thinking, because that's what our ego needs to do. It needs to translate between the soul and the other languages and the present ego mind understanding. So we want to dance on the edge of the nonlinear. We want to stay in our circles and our spirals and our turnings. And the other thing we want to remember is that it's something we did not already know. Our associations are going to show us quickly what we already knew, and it's up to the dreamer to recognize the energy. Okay, quantum physics is energy, transformation is energy. The elements are all energy. So we will recognize when that energy shows up in someone or in some topic, and rather than interrupt the flow of that energy with words, I'm gonna just go. Can you hear that? I'm gonna tap this little singing bowl a little bit. Okay, thank you, Claudia. Yeah. Okay, so you can hear that. So just kind of take notes. Those of you who are taking notes, every time you hear this, jot down what the person's saying. And the person that's saying it, open up to the unknown. Okay, open up to that energy. Let it flow. Let it come out. You know, get excited. Feel it. And share it with all of us and tell us where it takes you as it comes up, okay? And we don't want to get too far out, you know? We don't want to get off on some, you know, something we all already know, some airy-fairy, I don't know. If we do, though, if we get caught up in that kind of flow, we'll just help each other focus on the dream. We don't want stream of consciousness. That's Freud's, and we want to stay really close and concise to the symbols and the images of the dream. Let the dream speak, let the soul speak, let the collective speak. Okay? Any questions about all that? I know that's a lot, and I'm going to give you an example from my dream. And then Steve's dream, and then I think we're going to start with the other crowds. We're going to let the crowds determine the order that we share the dreams in, what is for the most people. And we're going to try to be real concise. We're going to try to share our dream in like 2 minutes, maybe 4 minutes. And you'll see what that time frame looks like and feels like when I'm working with my dream. And then we're going to go to the archetypal images, the really huge things. So Charo and Claudia and Steve, I'll let you guys collate your notes and determine who's going to come after me and who's going to come after Steve, because we got a head start and we've got some similarities. We've got some patterns showing up already in our dreams. So I'm going to go over mine real quick and where I am with it, and I'm going to ask for your help, because I don't have the one sentence. We're going to boil it down to one sentence, a gestalt, for what the dream is telling us that we did not already know, that we need to share with the collective. As dreamers, you are the ultimate authority, okay? On your dream, you feel the energy. You recognize what you did not already know, and we're going to help you translate it into a sentence, a single sentence for the collective that we want to share from this session of coming together and tracking the magic. We want to stick with the magic and the things that we did not already know. Okay, so here's my dream. I'm in an academic setting with a large room full of people. I'm in the back by the guy who usually would be up front. I'm telling him how much I love doing this dream work, and I loved that this dream came as soon as I knew I'd be doing this dream work with all of you. And as I'm saying that, I'm saying, this feeds my spirit. our eyes meet in a swimmy way, something mysterious, something a little magical. And he asks, because you can see that he's a little taken by this swimmy thing, that feeling of energy, okay? And if somebody out there can write down all the unknowns, okay? So write down swimmy eyes for me out there somewhere. And he asked, you're probably pretty busy on the weekends. And I say, no, not really, because I want to get together and work this way with him. He had blue eyes and straight, thin hair. And I transitioned as soon as he's asked that about the weekend. I transitioned to my grandmother's basement. And this is my Selegi grandmother on the paint side, the blue clan. And that ties into the blue eyes. The blue clan is the medicine clan. And this is my ancestry. And this is why I was offering plant spirit medicine as we were coming into the room to call in helpers. Okay, I'm getting into reality. So focus me back on the dream. Get me back to the dream. I'm preparing to go to an outdoor gathering involving music and taking along some younger relatives, asking them what they really need. I see an old red backpack hanging on the wall, and it all needs to fit in there so they can get their drums. I think of taking my gourd ocean drum. Okay, I'm going to bring that in from the conscious to the from the unconscious to the conscious plane just by tapping a little tiny heartbeat on my gourd ocean drum that I have hanging right here. 4 little heartbeats. Okay, see how easy it is to work with the dream? Bring it from the unconscious to the conscious, just that quick. Okay, I move towards the backpack, and then I'm in the kitchen in my grandmother's basement when the male relative hands me a huge money bill. I was holding it up like this. It's bigger than the stove. I'm standing in front of the stove, and I'm turning it all around to see the number. Is it a $1 bill, a $5 bill, a $10 bill? I can't see any numbers. I only see Andrew Jackson. And I say, oh no, not him again. So there's my energy. He's the president who removed my ancestors on the Trail of Tears. He broke all the treaties. And we are the people who resisted both removal on the Trail of Tears and the reservation called Cherokee by hiding in these mountains. And there he is coming up in my dream. And so I run out the door, and the female younger relative runs with me, and we jump off the porch onto the ground. And that's the end of the dream. So my collective associations were the academic association with the authority archetypal pattern. Teachers have been in the authority position. And the guy up front, the guy that I was speaking with and had this swimmy eye contact with is usually in the front leading the class. But this time he was in the back, okay? So it points to doing things in a different way. And the elimination of hierarchy, removing a level of hierarchy by not being in the front, but being on an equal level with everyone in the room. Okay, so outdoors, nature gathering, drumming and dancing to balance the earth. Everything has to fit in a red backpack. That's the heart. And the back of the heart holds hate. And I'm looking back with my heart. And the ocean drum is the unconscious, so there's another archetypal pattern. My grandmother's nurturing kitchen is where the money bill shows up, and it is no longer as valuable as money. Hestia and, Steve reminded me of the Vestal Virgins. That was something I did not know. And the importance of those Vestal Virgins keeping the fires of life force going so that humanity continues. Okay, so the sentence I came up with is Seekers and mystics can stand with authority now to remove hierarchy. Medicine for the children is blue. The woad, the magic, the ancestral medicine, indigenous medicines from all over the world. Money is now bigger than the hearth and Hestia and the Vestal Virgin's fire. So drum and dance from the heart to balance with nature now. Does anybody have anything they feel should be added to that? Okay, we're all good? Okay, and I have to really thank Steve for working this dream ahead of time with me so that I could get to what I did not already know. It's not as much unknown as it could be. I'm thinking this sentence will probably get rearranged as we all share what's coming in, because there is a common link with all of it. And if we don't have any questions, the best way to communicate with me looks like the chat. So if you do have questions, if you could just put it quick in the chat or just open your mic and ask, either way is good. And if there are no questions, then let's go on to Steve's dream. Give us the 2 to 4 minute version of your dream of the maze, and test the alphabet.
Okay.
Word maze.
Can everybody hear me? Okay. A series of walled mazes, mazes of dead ends with different people reaching the dead ends. 6 people to start, eventually 60 as more mazes open up. The walls are above the height of a tall person. The dead ends appeared to be like cubicles with computer consoles with cables leading back to the source, the beginning point of the maze. The computers are running something like games with delayed reaction and real-time simulated bullets, explosions, electrical charges, experienced through the consoles as the occupants use their skills to avoid problems and dangers. And I'm sitting at the source point, realizing that there's a lot of change that is about to come. And there are a couple of booms as I wake up. So I have some, do you want me to give the sentence I came up with for that?
Your associations, what you already knew, and then
Oh, okay.
is something you did not know.
The maze thing, I was not so, that was an unusual setup. And it was like everybody was working in their own little worlds, disconnected and dealing with a lot of negative stuff that was coming in over the wires. And it's like this situation that people face in normal life, having to respond to the money economy and coming in with responses to keep themselves afloat. And the source is going through a big change, and it's related to this year because we've got a lot of changes ahead. And it's coming to, the idea is coming toward a more humane society and letting go of the cables and the connections and to find a higher connection. So that's about it.
Beautiful. Is that your sentence, or is...
Oh, the sentence is, organization of earthly realms yields to wisdom from higher realms.
Okay, beautiful, beautiful. And I want to point out that yesterday when the news feed came up on my computer, the top article was about a boom. And Steve and I had been working this for a couple of days, and we were not able to figure out the booms that woke him up, but they were archetypal, huge booms. So the news feed from CNN, which I never read, came up as boom in Pittsburgh, the size of 30,000 tons of TNT is from an asteroid, according to NASA. Okay, so 30 tons of TNT, and this is reality. We're in reality, we're in the collective, we're in the news feed. This also makes the dream collective when it shows up in the news headlines. So think about that boom, think about that 30,000 tons of TNT over Pittsburgh with an asteroid that just hit on the same day that Steve had this dream, on Saturday. Okay, does anybody have any associations they want to add to his? Something he didn't know and we all didn't know or don't know? We still don't know at this point because we're looking ahead. Anything else anybody wants to add to his sentence? And you know, we're both open to changing interactions. And do you see the correlations, the money, the, you know, the values that we hold now as collective?
So Saturday was the first day of the year.
Right.
That's,
Yeah.
With an asteroid boom that NASA finally figured out a few days later was a natural asteroid. I love it. Here's my ding. I got all caught up and forgot to ding for you, Steve. Sorry. So it's beautiful. Yeah. Thank you, Pamela. Do you have any associations with that, Pamela? Is it stirring anything in you?
oh, on Sunday, I rarely watch movies, but on Sunday I watched the movie Don't Look Up about a comet asteroid hitting Earth.
There you go. That's
Leonardo DiCaprio, and it leaves such an eerie feeling because it's so much is so real.
Yes, it is. Feel those little tinglies. That's
Yeah.
information too. Here's another tap for your tinglies, Pamela. Thank you. So we're tied in. See, we got a foothold. We got a little bit of a foundation. Okay, who's next? Who's got the biggest crowd in the room? My team helpers, who did you log as having the biggest crowd? Okay, you guys with the dreams, who's got the crowd? Claudia says Tessa and Chung and Molly. Okay, Tessa, Chung, and Molly. Who wants to go next? If any of you have any of the same symbols or images that, or ideas that were in the two dreams we just covered, can you start there? And just saying, Steve's dream took less than 10 minutes, so that's ideal. We'll have time to work all these if we stay as concise and focused. Okay, so who's next?
I'm happy to go next, although I don't have any similarities to your dream, or at least I don't know that yet. Who knows, because I sometimes start to remember as I talk about it. So I'm in a boarding house, and one of the girls is with child, and she has her baby, but the baby is actually 3 babies, and there are 2 girls and a little baby boy. And the baby boy is small, and the 2 girls are quite a bit bigger than him. One of the girls grows so quickly, and I go away and come back. When I come back, she's walking around the room, and so I start to engage with her. And the mother is lying in the bed and just wants her baby girl back. She doesn't want her to be so grown up so quickly. So I take her over to the bed and lay her down with her mother. And then I am transitioned to another place in a town that's deserted, and there are only men around. And I'm in a pickup truck and I think I am like a handy person. And I can fix things, I can build things. So there's there's a little bit of activity going around, even though the town is somewhat deserted. Somebody's in a store, in a bread shop with no bread. And then I start fixing pavements and making sort of pathways, maybe paving cement. And everything just seems very grey. But inside my truck, I've got paint, but I don't use it. I just know it's there. And that's all I remember for now.
Beautiful.
And that was the dream that came last night.
Well, I wondered if one would come for you last night. And your associations? What are your associations?
Well, what I know, and it's what, you know, I speak about, it's that rising feminine with the girl child growing very rapidly, and the need for, or the so this is personal, and I am going personal here. So
Yeah.
that's, yeah, is that okay? Try not to go personal.
We don't want to.
Okay. Well, it's, my association is just the movement growing so rapidly, but maybe even forgetting about the source. Growing rapidly, moving away, but forgetting about the source and the need to return to the source.
Okay, and with Steve's dream. Back to the source. Wires going back to the source. Okay, and there was another archetypal thing I recognized. Taro, did you catch another archetypal thing as she was talking beyond birth? Yeah, it's the individuation process, Taro. You're definitely onto that, and Tessa is definitely into that for the collective, paving the way. Okay, Tessa, does any of this resonate with you? Can you see Taro in the chat, or do you want her to speak?
I actually now feel a similarity with Steve's dream, and it had to do with the empty shops. So an ending of a certain way, you know, and it's that money currency, and that there is a new way coming, and we may not see that now. It seems grey, but there's paint in the van. There's some paint, there's some color coming.
Oh, do you know what color it was, Tessa? Because colors are archetypal as well.
It was blue. It was blue.
Ooh, that
And
sings
you,
my dream. There you go. Somebody write down blue with our synchronicities. Here's blue again. Here's source again. Yeah, Charo, you got the list. Everybody got a list. This is exciting. Tessa, here's another ding for the blue. Okay, beautiful, Tessa. Do you have a sentence? Did anyone have any other associations to add? Chat or unmute and speak, whichever way you want to do it is all good. Okay, I don't see anybody, I don't hear anybody, so we'll just move right along. Tessa, do you have your one sentence? Are you good with your one sentence, or do you want to hold on?
I don't have it yet. Can I? I just recollected the dream, so I might spend a minute or so to create that and I'll put it in the chat.
Great, when you feel it. And also things may keep coming in to feed you, to nurture that dream for the collective as well, and you. Don't forget your personal self, just don't share your personal part of the dream. Dreams are always both personal and archetypal, but the important part of the dreams for the collective is to share, just like we're doing right now. Get it out there in the collective every opportunity you get. Tell anybody, you know. Okay, now, who's next? Who's got any of those same synchronicities, similarities. Anybody got blue? Anybody got workplace? Anybody got birth? Birth's a big, archetypal event. Okay, so who's the next fit? Chung? Okay. Tessa says Chung, so let's go with Tessa's first inclination. Am I saying that right?
Oh, my name is Chong Fu.
Chung
Two
Fu.
syllables. Yes, but it's okay. I know Western people like to only, abbreviate the name. Yes.
Yeah, but we like to know what you prefer to be called too. So thank you, Chung Fu.
Thank you.
Please share your dream.
Yeah, my dream, that was on Sunday. And again, at my workplace, it's a academic setting. So 2 female colleagues has been trouble me. And so I wrote a report, but they decided to form a jury to investigate my report. And the person on the head of the jury was a retired colleague a long time ago with his student, absolutely no associate with this event. So that's about it.
Okay. Okay, and what are your associations with the symbols and images in the dream? Like, was your workplace cubicles like Steve's dream, like we have so many of here? Was it open room? What was the setting in the workplace like?
Well, I have my own office, but I think it was in the building, right? When the jury asked me and his student asked me the question, I think it's in some kind of, conference room, a little bit dark. And the jury, the question to ask me was nothing about the report or the event. So it's a little bit strange to have this jury to investigate the event, right? And the other thing is the head of the jury already retired 8 years ago.
Okay. So there's some more symbolism there. Okay, can you tell us what the question was? Did you hear the question, or was it just the dream knowing that there was a question?
No, I cannot remember the question they asked me, but I know it's just so unreliable, right?
Okay, and 8 years ago, okay, the head of the jury retired 8 years ago. 8 is an archetypal number in your experience. Is that one that you are familiar with, or one that holds any meaning for you?
No, because I remember he retired 2014. So now I count it, it's about 8 years. Technically, it's a 7.5 years. Yeah, right. So.
Okay, 7 is a very sacred number in the original instructions that we all came in as this wave of humans.
Thank you.
Taro, I see you typed something. Do you want to? It got out of the chat before I could read it. Do you want to speak it, or do you want to flash it up again?
Okay, yeah, I'll share it. The number 8 is associated in numerology, the Western numerology, with business and with money. And it just came to me because it connects with the other dreams,
Money.
just in case it makes sense.
Good,
Thank
good.
you.
Mhm. Okay, here we are back to money. This is a big topic so far. Yeah, thank you, Charo, for catching that. Do you have anything like a sentence, Chung Fu, that you could say the dream told you that you did not already know? I mean, obviously that was something right there, and I'll ding for that. When Charo gave you that, you felt that aha. Did everybody hear that? Hear that energy?
I think in my dream, I feel being silent
Mhm.
for this strange investigation. Don't know what to say.
Judged. You know, that feeling of having a jury and being judged takes me back to the authority archetype. These people appointed themselves as authority over you, having some sort of authority over you uh, without your participation. And that's the authority archetypal pattern. So let's jot that down, whoever's got notes on that. There's your archetypal pattern. The authority archetypal pattern having to do with money and business in the workplace. Something, you might leave that blank, something about money and the authority archetypal pattern in the workplace and the upcoming business culture for the year ahead. Does that feel good? Can you sit with that and see if anything else holds energy?
Yeah, this is a good, exactly. Yeah.
Perfect. There's another ding for us then.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Who's next? Charles is judged by somebody, quality, or you want to just speak that, Charles?
Sure. Yeah. If it were my dream, I would associate it with somebody or something, or a quality or a rule from the past that is judging you in the present, and it doesn't seem that it's relevant because it's 8 years old. Like it shouldn't be here.
Good point. Yeah, hold that, Chung Fu. Hold that with your sentence, and let's see where we go.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Charo. Okay, where are we going next? Was Suzanne coming up next? Is that what I saw? Heather also felt the elders. Who wants to go, Suzanne or Heather? Well, Heather, I don't know if you're working a dream. Molly. Okay.
I had a question, Gail.
Okay.
She was talking about the elders, or when he was talking about the main person, the retired person. Just because you had kind of the elders show up with your family kitchen, the family basement, I'm wondering if again someone that was in a position of authority but connected to the past that no longer is there, but still provided wisdom and guidance and that sort of stuff. Is that connected to the elders?
Mm-hmm. Yes, perfect, Claudia. Thank you for grabbing that. It's almost a juxtaposition because that's when the dollar bill showed up in my dream, being bigger than the archetypal patterns, the elders, the stoves. So here we've got this competition, or this some kind of information that we don't already know between, and like in Steve's sentence, the other side, the helpers. There's something there, okay? Write it down, Claudia and Charo and Tessa, so we can all get at it. Tessa's got the mothers, Okay. Molly, are you comfortable going first? Going next? Am I
Hello. Hi.
welcome,
Yeah. Hello everyone. Lovely to be here and share this space with you. Thank you. So yeah, I got my dream book here with me, and I'm reading from it. So the dream was dreaming that I'm in, basically I'm from Croatia, from one island of Croatia, although I'm living in London for many, many years. So, but I'm dreaming I'm back home with in my parents' house. And my neighbors are First Nation, Indigenous, American Indian. We have met, and I kind of clearly can see their house is kind of a neck on the other side. And we have met in the middle, on a garden in the middle, and to hold big ceremony and dance together. They have made huge, beautiful mandala on the floor, which celebrates all brothers and sisters from all corners and all relations. I'm fascinated by their mandala and feeling deep gratitude, joy, and respect towards them. And then I have a little sketch. I don't know if you can see it, but that's kind of like a sketch, even if it was kind of downwards like that. That was kind of like a sketch.
Beautiful. Hold it there just 1 minute. Let me just grab the details and talk while you're holding it, so I'll see you in the big picture. Talk about the sides in the center. I'm gonna talk a little bit about what I'm seeing too, and you talk with me, so you'll stay there. I'm seeing hearts in the 4 directions. I'm seeing the center very clearly. Indigenous language, my indigenous language is verb-based because verbs are in the center. They are action. They are more real than nouns. Noun-based languages are around the circumference. Okay? And it's a beautiful drawing, Molly. Thank you so much for that image. I wish there was a way we could capture it, but I guess that's good. That's as good as we got. And I saw 6 sides on that that center, around the center, that drawing around the center. Is that right, Molly? Is that 6 or 8?
8.
8. Okay, here's our 8 again. Okay. Note that, my note helpers, please. Okay, and what are your associations? Molly, you told us a few as you go. Do you have more associations of what you did already know about these images and symbols in the stream?
Well, I perhaps I dreamed that because I talked to a friend of mine and sister about making mandalas, full wood mandalas, and connecting more with the cycle of the moon, which obviously leads to the indigenous kind of way of being with the moon. And I feel like I feel like there is somehow inside of me, it feels like there is a beginning of that reparations of kind of taking down the white supremacy and like giving the space people to lead us into the ceremonial space. So yeah, I was feeling, I just really remember waking up and feeling really happy and really deep gratitude and being really in a like really good space and respect. So yeah, that's the kind of what it was coming through my mind.
Yeah, and that ties back to my dream, which was totally about that. And it ties into the 8 in Chung Fu dream. And what other ties? Do you have other ties, Charo? The garden, the middle, beautiful coming together. Anything that she does not know that anybody has to suggest? The mandala is obviously a centering, an archetypal symbol. The 4, the 4 sections. And Charles, do you want to say more about that? Yeah, Shalani, moon wisdom and cycles, back to the feminine. Yeah, yeah. Anytime you hear somebody throw something out, Molly, just, you know, let us know however you can. You know,
Yeah, no, that's
let us know your
yeah, no, that's amazing wisdom.
when you
Yeah.
can. Yeah.
I wanted to share about the mandala because for Jung it was very, very important. It represented a symbol of the self, the guiding wisdom inside of us, the sacred in us. So it was very, very important, and also represented wholeness. So I just have goosebumps just describing it. So I think it's really powerful symbol.
Oh, so nice.
Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. Sweet.
It was interesting after Miley shared her dream. I felt a synchronicity actually with Stevens as well that hadn't been mentioned or recognized kind of when we were discussing it. I felt it and I didn't question it or mention it out loud, but in Stevens, there was the cubicles and it was all individual, but he how the wires all went kind of back. So I see that togetherness and the joining of Stevens' wires, there to say Malini and the getting together and the joining the neighbors and her family. I see it back to that center space.
Yeah, back to the center.
Back in the garden.
Definitely action. Beautiful. Okay. Anybody else? Pamela?
Yeah, I got into big trouble on a Croatian island, Ugljan, with my aunt who wouldn't speak to me for many years after that. And for me, she absolutely represents the hierarchy of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. And so, yeah, the taking down of empires and
Authority. Yeah, perfect. It's building. Okay. It's bringing you in, Pamela. That energy's building. That balancing of the authority archetypal pattern. Does anybody else feel that building? I'm feeling very encouraged. Okay, thank you, Molly. Try to write one sentence that you did not already know and add to it as we go along if things spark for you. Okay? Any questions at this point? You guys are doing great. This is so much fun. Thank you all so much for jumping in here and, you know, writing this adventure, tracking the magic. Who's next? Okay. Tessa's got her sentence. You wanna speak to that, Tessa?
Sure. So my sentence is, we are rising in balance. And knowing where we came from brings the new way closer. So it's maybe quite easy for us to feel ourselves rising and maybe spiral out. But knowing where we came from, that source, that center, the center actually keeps the balance. So when we know that and we speak it and we acknowledge it, that speeds us towards our destination. And that's my feeling. And it's coming through right here in such a beautiful way. Thank you.
Yes.
Kanaka.
Now, when we got all the dreams, we're going to tell our story. We're going to read our sentence one after another, and that will be our story for the collective. And hopefully somebody who can type really fast will write it down so we can share it. But that's beautiful, Tessa. And it also helps us to be centered within ourselves, to be present and centered. And that is the key to the healthy ego. I'll just speak into that a little bit. The strong ego vessel, which Tessa has stepped into during the time that we've been working her dreams, is a beautiful example of is the one that holds awareness in all of these situations, holds presence and awareness over identity. Identity says I'm this and I'm not that, and it's steeped in duality. And then the opposite of that is the awareness that says I am present, and this is the gift that the climate, the cyclones and the huge archetypal weather brings us to the present, and in a way of survival. We can also come to the present in a way of awareness without that harsh teaching, that survival rather than thrival type of situation. So that's perfect, Tessa. Yeah, perfect part of the story. Okay, now who's next? We got a few more dreams, right? Anybody feeling like they want to jump in there? Suzanne, you want to be next?
Hi, Gail. This is Heather. I'm so sorry that I came late, but I'm so happy that I did because I really feel the unity here. I have a ties to Croatia as well, so I think that's interesting. 3 out of 14 have ties to Croatia. It's in my bloodline.
Beautiful.
And I have a reoccurring dream that I've been having since about 6 months before the pandemic. And I am in this dream, I am a piece of sea kelp. But my shape is like, kelp is usually long and skinny, but my shape is really wide and broad, and I'm wrapped around a bunch of other sea kelp. And it feels all of our consciousness is unified. And I understand myself in the dream to be like the mother of the other strands of kelp, and that we're communicating to one another. And I have a role of reassurance because above the water, there's something going on, and it's as if we're under the water, we're waiting for something. And each time a large wave comes and it kind of rocks the whole pod of kelp, then we have to reconfigure ourselves, but then we get back into that position again of being all like bound together, holding on to each other.
Beautiful. Very beautiful. Yeah, that takes me a little back to Steve's dream. And what are your other associations? Do you have more associations that you already know?
When you say associations, can you say that in another way?
Things that you're reminded of by the symbols and images in the dream. You mentioned a little bit about the shape of the kelp being, the common shape, but this was an uncommon shape.
Yeah, it was as if like all the other kelp, they looked like regular kelp, but I was like almost like a new looking kind of kelp. It was like a round, like a very broad leaf that was coming up and around, almost like a piece of cabbage or lettuce coming up and around the other strands of kelp. It's very vivid in the dream. Like I feel like my body is that piece of vegetation. Like I can feel it moving. I can feel the other kelp inside, and like the other kelp are communicating with each other, but kind of like not with language. It's like deeper than language. And every once in a while, I tell the other kelp, like basically, oh, it's going to be okay. It's going to be all right. And then, but the biggest feeling is that we're waiting. Like there's something that we're waiting for. Like we're there kind of seeking refuge until something happens.
Okay, what I just heard that's significant that we did not already know is another way of communicating. Communication is very significant in dreams. So expand on that new way of communicating. It also identifies you, Heather, as the seeker. The seeker archetypal pattern wants to bring in the new ways and is the opposite of the authority archetypal pattern. This is our roots. We have many archetypes come in and out of our lives, but we always have our roots among these four, and they are opposites, and they do determine collective culture. These are the basic patterns of human beings. So can you say anything more, just any associations with that energy of a new way of communicating?
Yeah, well, it's not language. It's not like something you can spell. It's like you get a feeling. It's almost like you get this visceral feeling, and then you understand without there needing to be like labels or explanation. It's just like a transmission of knowing, like through the collective consciousness.
Okay, and you just identified your other archetypal pattern of your roots. That would suggest that you are the intuitive mystic type also. I think most of us here are the seekers and the mystics, and might need to, rely on some warriors to take that out into the world and possibly take on the hierarchy and authority that exists right now. But yeah, hold that sentence. That is your strongest, what you did not already know, what it's telling you. Hold that sentence. Hold those two archetypal patterns in your personal understanding. And is there anything else that anybody wants to add to this one? Okay.
I would like to just speak very briefly into your movement, Heather. So this new, feeling is the key word here. The new way being emotion-based and waiting for that wave to come. So waiting for the movement. And the movement is emotion. It's emotion. Feelings, yes.
Ah, beautiful, Tessa, beautiful. Okay, great. We're at 2:18, so we're going to have to speed up just a little bit. Is there another dream to share? Another dream that someone feels like? Okay.
I can share if you like.
Okay. Okay, Kate. Yeah, come on in with your dream.
Hi, everyone. It's kind of, well, I'm learning so much as I'm listening, but it's kind of connected to the last dream, to Heather's dream, in that it was the ocean. I was sitting on like a hard standing, like on a harbor, and but it was the ocean, so it was a very flat body of water there. It was warm. I knew it was warm. Maybe my legs were I was sitting on with my legs in the water. And then an orca whale just came up. So I saw its nose. It came up out of the water and down. And there was also a dolphin that did the same thing. And I felt like they were inviting me in. But I'm not sure if I went in, although I knew the water was warm and it felt okay to go in, but I'm not sure if I did actually go in and swim with them. I think I just knew that they were saying it's okay to come in with us. And I did also feel like there was another presence next to me, although I don't know if it was a person but somebody else or something else was there, kind of also saying, wow, it's okay. It was blissful. There wasn't any uncomfortable feeling there at all. Yeah, and that's it really. I woke up feeling very blissful.
Oh, imagine, that's sweet. Okay, so those whales are definitely archetypal, instinctual. Balance, you have balance when you have the archetype and the instinct. Okay, we have to be careful with all of these instinctual patterns coming up. Your timing is actually exquisite, so that I can warn everybody that we can't let the archetypes overpower us. We can't get caught in possession by the archetypes. We can't just fall into the ocean and get swallowed up, you know? That's the ocean, the enormity in the ocean as an archetypal pattern can actually trigger the psyche to go into a state of anxiety. The unfamiliar, the depths just floating, falling out into the sea would be so unfamiliar, it would naturally raise up a lot of anxiety. Okay? The opposite of that is depression, when we are not able to really see and connect with the archetypes, then we can fall into a weak ego vessel. And a weak ego vessel is not knowing ourselves and not having the strength to stand at the ocean and feel that bliss and that balance, being afraid that it's going to swallow us up. You know, anxiety and depression are balanced by the archetypes and the instincts. And so the whale and the dolphin and the presence, which is going back to almost all of our dreams have the presence of ancestors, elders, you know, other dimensions, that we are in relationship with those who have done their work, and, you know, bringing us back to balance. Nature seeks balance. So that's what we're wanting to do, you know, with all of these archetypal images, is bring them back to balance with our instincts. Okay? So don't let yourself get caught up in the possession by the archetypes and think that you're Icarus and can fly to the sun. Okay? Keep your feet on the ground and your fins in the water with the orcas and the dolphins, and we all need to do that after this experience that we're having today.
Yeah.
So that's beautiful. Does anyone else have anything they want to add here?
Yeah, I would love to. Oh, sorry, somebody else was asking. Well, I just wanted to share quickly with the two animals that you mentioned that orcas, at least from what I know, are not considered friendly animals, but a bit aggressive. But dolphins are the gentle, the friendly, the loving animal in the ocean. So it's kind of both aspects swimming in harmony. So both things, both different, sides of the spectrum, so to speak, but together and knowing everything's fine. So I just thought it was a nice blend of the opposites.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Interesting.
Yeah. And dolphins are one of the few animals that actually has to choose to breathe. Breathing is not automatic. It's not an autonomous function for dolphins. So you might be reminded, you know, that you have that choice, and that choice of breath. And I see an eyebrow, so that may be something you did not already know. So write down your sentence of what most strikes you and sparks you from what you did not already know. And we're going to go through and tell our story next. If no one else has a dream, we're coming up on 2:30, so we're running out of time. And I want everyone to know that we would like to offer to continue this dream work. Tessa's been kind enough to say that she's available with this Zoom link on the 22nd of each month, so that we continue this process throughout the year of coming together and working our stories and seeing our whole myth or our whole book or our whole whatever, poetry or whatever we are creating together as a cohesive experience of dreaming for the collective. So make a note of that. I guess 3 p.m. Tessa, does that, I know that's pushing it for Charo in Spain. And is there any other time zones that we need to negotiate or think about as we tell our story? And then
I'm in Portugal, which is the same as UK, so it's UTC, isn't it? Time.
Yeah, you'll have to get online for that.
I don't know.
I'm so good at that. There's some things, some apps out there to help you is all.
We can
6 in the evening, so I know that's kind of a reasonable time That's about all I can say about it. But let's tell our story. In the order that we shared our dreams, perhaps I would. I'll read my line, and then the rest of you just step in with your line, your one-word line.
Gail,
Yeah.
I'm a really fast typer. Would you like me to type it into a document and then I can paste it into the chat?
I would love that, Donalia. Thank you so much. I was hoping somebody would be a really fast typer, and if anybody else wants to grab that story and keep working with it, I would invite that as well. Take it with you and flush it out into the full myth, the full story, the full whatever you get. Okay, and yes, I do want to share my email. It's singing myth. Well, no, let me give you the other one. It's Dream Story Magic, which is also my blog on DreamWork, dreamstorymagic.blogspot.com. And if somebody wants to put that in the chat, I'd really appreciate that. That's the name of the blog. And the email is at Gmail, dreamstorymagic@gmail.com. And you have the link for today, so that's the link we'll be using. And we'll decide on time after we tell our story. So here we go. Any questions before we tell our story? Is everybody good and okay with their story, with their line for the story? Everybody ready for this one? Okay? Any questions? So here we go. Seekers and mystics can stand with authority now to remove hierarchy. Medicine for the children is blue, woad. Blue clan plant medicine, magic medicine. Money is now bigger than the hearth, Hestia and the Vestal virgins holding the sacred life force. So we can drum and dance from the heart to balance with nature now. Stephen?
Organization of earthly realms yields to wisdom from higher realms.
Tessa, are you next? Are you ready or?
Yes, I'm ready. We are rising in balance. Knowing where we came from brings the new way closer.
Chung Fu, are you still here? Are you next?
I think he's left. He had to leave.
Okay. Molly, are you next?
Perhaps something along this line. We are coming back into the circle. We're coming back into the circle, holding our hands. I'm
Beautiful.
Yeah, I'm with this at the moment. But yeah, if I had probably more time to think, I would probably contribute more.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're coming back to the circle.
Yeah.
Is what is coming in my heart.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay. Heather, are you ready?
Mm-hmm. A new wave, emotion-based direct transmissions, the opposite of authority.
Beautiful. Okay. Kate, do you have your sentence, Kate?
Yes. We have a choice to breathe. We don't have to jump straight in. We have an inner knowing that balance is harmony.
Beautiful. Yeah. Oh, that feels good. Lots of dings. Good work, all of you. I know that we are running a little bit past our time. It's 2:30 now, and Elil was going to usher us out of this circle. Does anyone have any questions before she closes for us? Okay, we all feel good? Yes, good, okay. And do our story writers need any clarification from anyone? I would encourage you to go directly through the chat to that person if you need to work your notes with them. And I will turn this over to Elil, and then I'd like to sing us out with a quick gratitude song. It's another way of communication. Okay? Yeah, team up, Danalia, with whoever else was taking notes, with Charo and Stephen and Claudia and whoever else was able to write down. I've got some things written down, but I kind of didn't get the last round. But team up and you guys pull your story together the best you can. I mean, Tessa, do you need to leave right away? Are we gonna need to close your room right away, or?
No, there's no rush to close. I'm happy to keep it open for another few minutes. And Elil had to jump into another circle. So I am opening up to one of another Wahine in a circle, either Claudia or Pamela, if you would like to close. Now Claudia's just disappeared. Pamela, would you like to close our session?
Sure. Thank you, Gail, for bringing dreams and that other third of our lives into our conscious mind. It's good to see that and to feel that and to hear about the ocean and the waves and the memories and the feelings and how it's all part of the whole. And it's so good to know the changes that are coming, because we've needed changes for so long, and makes it more concrete and real. Thank you, Gail.
You are so very welcome. Thank you, Pamela, for recognizing these gifts, and thank you to all of you. And actually, if you could write, each of you who have a sentence, boil it down as short as you can and write it in the chat, and then Tessa can save the chat and we'll have it that way from each of you individually. Do that while I sing a closing song of gratitude, and join me, of course, in singing. I love for people to sing with me. And this is in the Lakota language and in English, so that we are bringing those communications. We are now taking our collective dream in this action from the other side to this plane. We're balancing, we are making it real, we are making it palpable with our senses. We're going to hear it, we're going to feel it, we're going to, see it and make it real on this plane and honor it in this way. So hum along, sing along, hit that frequency however you can. Tunga shalai unchi malaye mitak yeo unchi makal mani uchoni pilamaye. Ancestors, grandmothers, please share compassion. All my relations, Grandmother Earth, Water is life. We are grateful. Tunga Shalai Unshimalaye Mitakieo Unshimakal Miniwachoni Pilamaye. Water is life. Much love and gratitude to all of you. So, I guess we can stop the recording unless anybody has anything they want to add.
Is someone going to announce the other two events? We have one tomorrow and Friday.
Yeah, Tessa, you want to talk about that or?
Danny, please, can I hand over to you? You do it so well. Come on.
But I'm talking about my own event.
And who better to do it?
Hmm.
Please let us know.
So please join me tomorrow. Our theme as part of 7 Days of Rest is valuing. So as you can see, those of us who've been with us all week, it's this beautiful invocation really of these qualities each day, from rebirthing to nourishing to cultivating to communing, and now sharing with Gail today, sharing our collective dreams and coalescing into a group dream, and then tomorrow is valuing. So I have been building relations with elder trees and waters and mountains around the world for the past 13 years. And so I've really come to value their wisdom. I receive messages from them. And so I'll be sharing what some of those recent messages are, and introducing you to some of my nature elders, who I call nature elders. And also I'll be opening what I call a listening field, in which I will invite each of you to invite into our council a nature being that you're heart bonded with, and likewise ask for a message from that elder for you to take into 2022. So same time, same Zoom link, 10 a.m. PST, 1 p.m. EST, 6 p.m. UTC, and of course 6 a.m. next day in Fiji. And then on Friday, it's day 7, and this is the theme is celebration. And so for us, as a global group of women at Fertile Ground of Co-Creation, we are coming together, the 7 of us, for the first time. And we will have a harvest circle. So we welcome key words that are your takeaways for the week, as well as we'll have a transformation dance with the elements that's guided and created by Gail Thomas. And then we'll be closing our time out, but launching our personal gifts for 2022 through a live prayer performance that I'll be offering with a song I received from Mother Water and Father Fire this year called We Are Begun. So we welcome you to join us. We welcome you to share with your friends and relatives and colleagues who also feel this call to co-create with both our human relatives as well as with our nature relatives. So many blessings, and thank you for bringing your creative love and visions into our field of co-creation.
Beautiful. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Danalia. Yes, I'd love to see